My grandfather was the only person in my family who truly understood me. He taught me how to work with wood when I was just 10 years old, and we spent countless hours together in his workshop building furniture and building memories. When he passed away 6 months ago, he left me $85,000. I thought it was his final gift, his way of saying he believed in me. But I never imagined that money would reveal the true faces of the people I loved most. The day my brother called about his wedding was the day I learned what family really meant to them. Before I tell you what my brother did next, drop a comment and let me know where you are watching from. And if you have ever had family treat you like an ATM, instead of a person, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Trust me, you are going to want to stick around for this one, because what happened next changed everything I believed about loyalty and blood. Growing up, I always lived in my older brother Derek's shadow. He is 5 years older than me, and from the moment I can remember, he was the golden child. My mother Linda treated him like he could do no wrong. Derek was the smart one, the handsome one, the one everyone at family gatherings wanted to talk to. He graduated from a good college, landed a job as a sales manager at an insurance company, and seemed to have life figured out from the start. Me, I was the quiet one. The kid who preferred spending weekends in Grandpa Walter's workshop instead of going to parties. I was never as outgoing as Derek, never as charming, and my mother never let me forget it. When Derek graduated college, she threw him a huge party with catered food and a guest list of over 50 people. When I finally saved enough money to open my own small woodworking shop 3 years ago, she just looked at me and said, "That is nice, honey. No party, no celebration." Just 4 words that made me feel like my dreams did not matter. The favoritism was always there, lurking beneath the surface of every family interaction. At holiday dinners, my mother would spend 20 minutes talking about Derek's latest promotion or his new car. When it came to me, she would just ask if I was still doing that furniture thing. At reunions, she would introduce Derek to every relative who walked through the door. I would sit in the corner invisible, wondering why I was never enough. But Grandpa Walter saw me differently. He was a carpenter himself back in his younger days, and when he noticed my interest in working with my hands, he took me under his wing. Every Saturday I would bike over to his house and we would spend hours in his workshop. He taught me how to measure twice and cut once. He showed me how to sand wood until it felt like silk. He told me stories about the furniture he had built over the years, and the families who had treasured those pieces for generations. One thing Grandpa always told me stuck with me through everything. He would put his hand on my shoulder, look me straight in the eyes, and say, "You do not need their approval, kid. You just need to know your own worth." At the time, I thought he was just being a supportive grandfather. Now I understand he was preparing me for the moment when I would have to stand on my own 2 feet. When Grandpa passed away 6 months ago, I was devastated. He was 84 years old and had been battling heart problems for years, but nothing prepares you for losing the one person who made you feel seen. At the funeral, Derek showed up in an expensive suit, shook a few hands, and left early. He did not even call me in the weeks after to check if I was okay, but I did not expect him to. That was just who Derek was. A month after the funeral, the lawyer contacted me about Grandpa's will. I was shocked to learn that Grandpa had left me his entire savings, $85,000. The lawyer handed me a copy of the will, and there was a handwritten note from Grandpa attached. It said, "To Harley, the only one in this family who understands the value of building something with your own hands. Use this to chase your dreams. I believe in you." I cried for an hour after reading that note. I had plans for the money. Big plans. I wanted to expand my workshop, buy professional equipment, and turn my small business into something Grandpa would have been proud of. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a real chance to build something meaningful. Then Derek called. It was a Saturday evening, and I was in my workshop finishing up a custom coffee table for a client. When I saw Derek's name on my phone screen, I was surprised. Derek never called me. We were not close enough for casual conversations. We only talked at family events, and even then it was surface-level small talk. I answered, and his voice was unusually friendly. "Hey, little brother, how are you doing? How is the workshop going?" He asked about my health, my business, my life. It felt strange. Derek had never shown this much interest in me before. After a few minutes of small talk, he finally got to the point. "So I have some exciting news. Brianna and I are getting married in 4 months. I congratulated him genuinely. Brianna was his girlfriend of 3 years, and despite everything, I was happy for him. Marriage is a big step, and I wished him well. But then his tone shifted. So, here is the thing. Brianna has always dreamed of a perfect wedding. We are talking about a venue by the lake, imported flowers, a live band, the whole package. We are looking at about $120,000 total. I stayed silent, sensing where this was going. We have saved up a good chunk, Derek continued, but we are still short. And I was thinking about Grandpa's money. You are not really using it for anything important, right? I mean, you could lend it to us. All $85,000. We will pay you back when we can. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. You want my entire inheritance. Derek laughed like I had said something funny. Come on, Harley. It is not like you need it. You are just making furniture. Just making furniture. Those 3 words cut deeper than any knife. My entire life's work, my passion, my connection to Grandpa, reduced to nothing in a single sentence. I told Derek I needed time to think, and hung up the phone. That night I sat alone in my workshop staring at the tools Grandpa had given me. My phone buzzed. It was a text message from my mother. Derek told me about his request. I think it is only fair you help him. He is your brother. Grandpa would have wanted you to support family. I read the message 3 times each time, feeling my heart sink lower. My mother did not ask how I felt. She did not consider my plans. She just assumed I would hand over everything because Derek wanted it, and using Grandpa's name to guilt me. That hurt more than I could express. That night, I could not sleep. Something told me this was just the beginning. 1 week after Derek's phone call, my mother invited me to a family dinner at her house. She said she wanted to catch up, that it had been too long since we all sat down together. I should have known better, but part of me still hoped my family could surprise me. Part of me still wanted to believe they cared. When I arrived at my childhood home, the dining room table was set beautifully. Candles, nice plates, the works. It felt like a special occasion. Derek and Brianna were already there, sitting next to my mother like they were posing for a family portrait. Brianna greeted me with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Harley, so good to see you. Your work sounds so quaint. The way she said quaint made it sound like she was describing a child's finger painting. I forced a polite smile and took my seat. The first half of the dinner was surprisingly normal. We ate, we talked about the weather, my mother asked surface-level questions about my business. For a moment, I almost let my guard down. Then as we finished the main course, Derek leaned back in his chair and steered the conversation exactly where I knew it would go. So, Harley, have you had time to think about what we discussed? I set down my fork. I have been thinking about it, yes. The thing is, I was planning to use that money to expand my workshop, buy new equipment. It is what Grandpa would have wanted. Derek exchanged a look with Brianna, then turned back to me with a patronizing smile. A workshop, Harley. This is my wedding. My once-in-a-lifetime moment. Your little hobby can wait. Before I could respond, Brianna chimed in. She started describing the wedding in excruciating detail. The lakeside venue that cost $30,000 just to rent. The flowers being imported from overseas. The 300 guests they planned to invite. The live band she had already put a deposit on. My mother nodded along like everything Brianna said was perfectly reasonable. When Brianna finished, my mother turned to me with that disappointed look I knew so well. Harley, I raised you better than this, she said. Family comes first. Your grandfather would be so disappointed if he knew you were being this selfish. I felt my jaw tighten. Mom, Grandpa left that money to me specifically. He wrote a note explaining why. I know what he wrote, my mother said, waving her hand dismissively. But your father spoiled you before he passed, and then Dad did the same thing. Derek has always been there for this family. He has responsibilities. Now it is your turn to step up. I wanted to ask when exactly Derek had ever been there for anyone but himself. He did not come to my workshop opening. He barely showed up at Grandpa's funeral. He had never once called to ask how I was doing in the 3 years since I started my business. But before I could say anything, Brianna jumped in again. Look, Harley, I get it. You want to play with your little tools, but this is about family legacy. Derek told me your grandfather left you that money because you were his favorite. Do you not think you owe it to share? I owe it. I felt the walls closing in. 3 people sitting across from me, all expecting me to hand over everything I had. Nobody cared about my dreams. Nobody asked about my plans. I was just a source of money to them, nothing more. I told them I was not feeling well and needed to leave early. As I walked toward the front door, I stopped in the hallway to grab my jacket from the coat rack. That is when I heard them talking in the living room. Derek's voice came first. "Do not worry, Mom. He will cave. He always does. He is too soft." My mother sighed. I should have convinced Dad to split the inheritance differently, but Harley was always his little project. Then Brianna's voice dripping with contempt. "I still cannot believe your grandfather gave him everything. What a waste. At least we will put it to good use. A real wedding, not some dusty workshop." Derek laughed. "Once we get the money, we do not have to deal with him anymore. He is not even coming to the wedding party anyway." I stood frozen in that hallway, my hand gripping my jacket so tight my knuckles turned white. They were not just asking for money. They were planning to take it and discard me. The wedding party I was apparently not invited to. The workshop they thought was worthless. The brother they considered too soft to stand up for himself. And my mother, the woman who raised me, she wished Grandpa had left me nothing. I was his little project, not his grandson, not family, just a project.